Today I'm going to be learning more about Polish history, and this is another momentous moment in Poland's history. Not just Poland's history, but the history of Europe, the history of the world. And this is something a lot of people have been asking me to learn more about this, and this is the Battle of Warsaw 1920. My basic understanding is that Poland basically held off the Soviet Union from trying to spread communism throughout Europe, but that's as much as I know. I want to learn more about it. This is called Poland is Not Yet Lost. So tell me what you know about the Battle of Warsaw in 1920. Tell me if there's any other interesting moments in Poland's history that I should learn about, but let's learn about this one first of all.
Poland is not yet lost, or at least not since the end of the First World War, where it regained its independence. In 1919, Poland finds itself at war with Russia, where the Bolsheviks have gained the upper hand. Their leader Vladimir Lenin saw Poland as a bridge to bring communism to Central Europe. A year into the war, the Red Army launches a successful offensive, forcing a Polish retreat all the way to Warsaw. Poland's very survival was again at risk. Russia's objective was to occupy all of Poland. With this, the Red Army called for a mass push towards the Polish capital. As the Polish lines shortened, retreat became more organized. Polish commander and head of defense of the capital, Józef Pilsudski, called for Polish forces to withdraw across the Vistula River and defend the bridgeheads. The 1st and 2nd armies would take on a passive role, holding the main Soviet push as Warsaw's last line of defense. The 5th Army would be placed to defend the northern area near Modlin Fortress to stop any attempt at an encirclement. The rest of the available divisions would be concentrated to the south and wait for Pilsudski's command. August 12th, the attack came led by Mikhail Tukhachevsky, sending in the Soviet 16th Army against the Polish 1st Army, guarding Warsaw, while the Soviet 3rd, 4th, and 15th Armies pushed into the northwestern front. During the offensive, the Mazir Group was deployed to protect the Soviet southern flank. Tukhachevsky concentrated his attack on the northwestern front in order to swing behind Warsaw, as this was a move done in 1831 by the Russian Empire to crush the Polish uprising with relative ease. Pilsudski knew this all too well and was able to predict the Soviets' movements. The Russians steadily advanced further into Polish territory. Intense fighting on the central front saw the city of Razmin change hands several times before finally falling to the Red Army. In the north, the Polish 5th Army was against 3 armies, both numerically and technologically superior. Around midnight, a regiment managed to break through the Soviet line and sabotaged a radio station used by the Soviet 4th Army, successfully cutting it off from headquarters. The 4th Army continued its march west, unaware of Tukhachevsky's order to turn south. The Polish 5th Army counterattacked on August 14th against the Soviet 3rd and 15th Army, pushing back Soviet units away from Warsaw. The mindset of military leaders differ on the two sides. The Polish were fighting for their survival, so naturally their morale was much higher than the Soviet troops. Their only objective was to save their country. Pilsudski even handed in a letter of resignation from all state functions so he could concentrate on the war effort. This way, even in the event of his death, his absence would not paralyze the state. The Soviet military, on the other hand, were disunited without a common goal. Tukhachevsky and Yegorov of the 12th Army disagreed on overall strategy of the war. This, paired with Stalin's political maneuvering, meant the 12th Army would not participate in Tukhachevsky's offensive. At one point, the Soviet 1st Cavalry Army directly disobeys Russian high command, initially ordered to attack Warsaw from the south. It chooses rather to assault the city of Lvov at Stalin's insistence. Pilsudski begins his counteroffensive on August 16th and commands the southern divisions to begin its march north against the small Mazir Group. His divisions defeat the Mazir Group on the first day and cuts off communication and supply lines of the Soviet 16th Army. Seeing the left flank now exposed, Tukhachevsky quickly issues the order to retreat and regroup, but his orders never make it. The northern Soviet divisions continue their march west, now cut off by the Polish 5th Army. In the center, the cut-off 16th Army retreats, and the trapped 4th Army flees into East Prussia, where the entire army is interned and disarmed. The Polish victory at Warsaw would turn the tides of the war, and Poland would go on to win the war against the world's expectations. In March of 1921, the eastern borders were established, and Poland, at least for a little while, was not yet lost.
What did I say there? To save our homeland, we shall return across the sea. Like, wow, that was like so interesting. Again, like I never knew anything of this, apart from what people had told me in the comments and what I knew, that brief little bit I knew. But to see the actual strategy that was executed by Poland, not just that, you really see that Polish fighting spirit. Poland is obviously a country that preceding this had been in wars and all these different things for 1,000 years. So Poland obviously has a lot of experience, but the Polish people have this mentality, this never say die, they never give up, just an unbelievable personality and mindset. It was really evident in this one as well. So close as well, like really on the edge of, like that could have changed the whole, it would have changed the whole complexion of history if Russia had somehow managed to win that and take over Europe, if they got further, spread communism. So much things could have been different. So Poland, like, there's so many times throughout history that Poland deserves so much respect. Not just for like their own self, but just for the world, for Europe. They've saved Europe so many times, and like I feel like it's really underplayed. Tell me what you know about this battle already. Tell me if there's anything more that's interesting about it. Tell me what you think about Poland's role in history. How many times has it saved Europe? Thanks.